When we hear the word superpower, the first thing that comes to mind is magic. But some people possess superpowers that defy science and the laws of nature, astonishing even scientists. Here are 14 people with superpowers that have been caught on camera, leaving everyone in awe. Enjoy watching. The dolphin-eyed children. If you're wondering how adaptable the human body can be, we suggest you take a look at the Moken tribe on the west coast of Thailand. Also known as sea nomads, the Mokens' lives are almost entirely dependent on the ocean, and children spend most of their time diving to find food on the seabed. Normally, when you dive into the water, everything looks so blurry that our eyes don't even try to adapt to the environment. It's not a normal reflex anyway. But Moken children can see the underwater quite clearly. Just like dolphins and seals, they can constrict their pupils and change the shape of their eye lenses underwater. However, none of the adults have this ability. That's why the little ones prefer to dive and catch fish, while the older ones prefer to hunt with harpoons. Researchers suspect that as Moken people age, they lose their dolphin eyes because their lenses become less flexible. The Flying Man. You may have encountered street performers showcasing various shows in the places you visit. Although these images seem completely out of the ordinary, the Flying Man trick has a simple explanation. One or two people are enough to perform it. The person appears to be floating in the air by balancing their entire body weight with one hand. Although the explanation is simple, the application is extremely difficult. What this man on the beach is doing seems much more incredible. The audience couldn't make sense of these images using the same explanation, because what was actually happening was completely different. As you can see in the video, the person is literally floating in the air without the help of any supporting structure. Those who asked how he did the trick got the answer magnet. The artist claimed to have buried a series of special magnets in specific places in the sand and hidden some inside his clothes. Then his friend powered the magnets, allowing him to float in the air. It really looks like a wonderful experience. The human calculator. Do you think it is possible to do all numerical calculations in seconds without using any machine? Scott Flansburgh can do this almost as fast as a calculator. He can perform operations such as subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, taking the square and cube roots of numbers in a few seconds with complete accuracy. Scott said he first discovered this ability at the age of 9 in math class. In 2001 and 2003, he broke the record for adding the same number to itself more times in 15 seconds than a person could do with a calculator, and earned his place in the Guinness Book of World Records as the human calculator. In 1999, he invented a 13-month calendar using 0 as the day, month, and year, as an alternative to the Gregorian calendar, which he called the human calculator calendar. An educator by day and a media personality by night, Scott helps people master mental math. The Magnet Man. Malaysian Liu. Thao Lin, also known as the Magnet Man, has the ability to attract metal objects to his body like a real magnet. Liu can stick metal objects, each weighing about 2 kilograms and reaching a total of 36 kilograms. Skin, like metal rods, sticking to a giant magnet. His pulling power is so strong that he even used this ability to pull a car. When scientists from the University of Technology Malaysia examined Liu's body, they did not see any abnormal magnetic field. When they realized that his abilities were real, they started a more comprehensive research and finally saw that his skin exhibited an unusual level of friction. This feature showed a special absorption effect against metals and was completely genetic. Liu also passed on his unique ability to his grandchildren. The Magnet Man, who entered the Malaysian Book of Records, takes care to participate in many charity events to help others with his feature. The Iceman Wim Hof. Finland may not be a great place to run a marathon barefoot and in shorts unless you're Wim Hof. Better known as the Iceman, Hof has managed to break a series of world records by completing tasks that require incredible physical endurance in conditions that could kill others. The 59-year-old Dutchman climbed Mount Everest in Nepal and Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest peak, in shorts, broke the Guinness World Record by swimming longer than anyone else in the world under ice water. He also managed to run a half marathon in the scorching heat of the Namib Desert without drinking any water. Researchers have found that Hoff creates an artificial stress response that helps him resist the effects of cold using the power of the mind. Attributing his success to the Wim Hof method he developed, the Iceman produces an internal pain reliever by doing breathing exercises during this process. Thus, this function comes into play when he exposes himself to a threat, such as a sudden temperature change. Hoff said he developed his technique by sitting in ice cubes for hours and walking the Himalayas as if he were on a beach. If you believe you can do these exercises, you can break records like the Iceman Wim Hof. The world's strongest teeth. You may have heard of the strongest man in the world, but have you heard of the man with the strongest teeth in the world? A Malaysian man nicknamed King Tooth decided to break a new world record with his teeth by pulling a 7-carriage train with a steel rope he clenched in his mouth. The man, named Radhakrishnan Velu, managed to move a 328-ton train about 3 meters. Although he managed to get his name in the record books again, it was not easy at all. As he tried to move the train, his neck muscles tightened and his face wrinkled in pain. Partly attributing his strength to meditation, Velu was applauded by the audience. As painful as it is to watch, we're sure toothpaste brands are after him. Could there be a better advertising face than the person with the strongest teeth in the world? The Lord of the Bees. Remember the bee scenes in the movies? If your answer is no, let's remember together. Next up is someone who has been training bees for years to animate action scenes in movies, TV shows, and commercials. Norman Gary, who was awarded the title of honorary professor at the University of California, keeping bees for 69 years. Before retiring, Gary was known as the best bee breeder in the world. He once even trained bees to fly into his mouth. He did this by placing a small sponge saturated with his own artificial nectar in his mouth. What courage! He broke the Guinness World Record by keeping 109 bees in his mouth for 10 seconds. Norman is also the person who broke the record for clothing made of bees in the Guinness World Records. Humming his clarinet in a head-to-toe garment of clustered bees was a crowd pleaser. Norman Gary has authored over 100 publications, including scientific articles, book chapters, popular articles, and magazines on beekeeping. Now that he's 83, he's having trouble getting in with the bees. That's why he spends most of his time feeding the wild bees in his garden and passing on the art of beekeeping to young beekeepers. Rubber Boy. Some people are more flexible than others. Take rhythmic gymnasts, for example. They can shape their bodies like a rubber band. The surprising thing is that they do these difficult movements with a ribbon flying in their hands and a big smile on their faces. Circus acrobats are even more impressive. They fly from place to place on a rope and fascinate us. However, Daniel Browning Smith, or Rubber Boy, as he is otherwise known, has a very different story. Daniel is a truly unique acrobat with unprecedented flexibility in the world. Rubber Boy, who was chosen as the most flexible person in the world by the Guinness World Records, can put his body in the most unusual shapes and positions. His father noticed Daniel's unique talent when he was just 4 years old during a fight with his siblings. Rubber Boy, who jumped off the bunk bed, landed just like a gymnast. From then on, Daniel decided to work on his flexibility and become the greatest acrobat the world has ever seen. With his father's support, self-discipline, and professional training, he managed to turn his talent into an incredible superpower and eventually broke 7 world records in flexibility. In addition, thanks to his flexible body, he can perform great performances in movies, TV series, and commercials. He appeared in films such as Paranormal Activity 3 and You Don't Mess with the Zohan so far. Daniel seems to be keeping his place in show business for a while longer. The Lion Whisperer. Many people have a very strong bond with cats and dogs, but close relationships with big cats are extremely unusual and dangerous. Kevin Richardson, also known as the Lion Whisperer, has an ability to talk to big cats. Whether it's a wild cheetah or a fearsome lion, he can make friends with them right away. Kevin was born on October 8, 1974 in Johannesburg, South Africa. Even at a very young age, it was clear that he had the ability to communicate with all kinds of animals. As he got older, his love for animals grew. He started spending time with various animals and making friends with them by going to a local lion park in his spare time. This is how he met the owner of the park and started working with him. After a while, he took charge of a special facility called the Kingdom of the White Lion, took care of more than 26 lions, numerous hyenas, leopards, and various other animals. It was incredible that he could take care of so many animals with almost no help. Years later, in 2013, he was finally able to raise enough money to establish the Kevin Richardson Wildlife Sanctuary. This not only gave him the opportunity to observe the animals in a unique way, but also allowed him to spend countless hours with them in an area free of bars that would restrict their interaction. His unique relationship with these magnificent animals has managed to attract many people from all over the world to the region. The Monkey King. Jyoti Raj, known as the Monkey King, is a free solo climber. Climbing various heights without even a safety harness, Raj does this not for sport, but to entertain onlookers. The Monkey King is also the only person in India's Karnataka state who can climb the 253-meter jog falls against the current. He also managed to climb a clock tower on September 13, 2013, in just over 15 minutes. As you can guess, he didn't use any safety equipment, instead using chalk to make gripping easier. Raj learned this amazing rock climbing skill by observing and communicating with monkeys. As intriguing as it may sound to observe monkeys, we do not recommend attempting such a thing without any safety precautions. 76 years of hunger. Going without food and water for a few days is not unusual, but it is not possible to live this way for years. However, it was claimed that Yogi Prahlad Jani, who dedicated himself to the goddess Amba, had not eaten a bite of food since 1940. How he survived continues to be one of India's unsolved mysteries. When the rumors in question began to spread, the researchers decided to keep Jani in a room for 15 days to observe how long he could last without food and water. As a result of the experiment, it was seen that the man was quite healthy. Although Jani died 2 years ago, he argued that he did not need to eat or drink water because his goddess supported him for 76 years. According to his disciples, he left his family home at the age of 14 to engage in spiritual quests and had not eaten or drunk anything since. Research has shown that the man has adapted incredibly to hunger and thirst. While many think this is a baseless claim, others truly believe it to be true. What do you think? Is it possible for a person to live for more than 70 years without food and water? A new perspective. You may have heard of admirable people who never give up hope and develop alternative solutions for themselves, even if they lose a basic sensory organ. One of these people was Ben Underwood. Diagnosed with retinal cancer at the age of 2, Ben had to have his eyes removed. From then on, he began searching for new solutions to live a full and active life. Ultimately, he was able to see his surroundings without eyes by developing a skill similar to that of dolphins. By making a sharp sound with his tongue, Ben could understand where he was and even what objects were around him from the resulting echo. This ability helped him participate in activities such as running, cycling, basketball, and soccer. The little hero, who succumbed to cancer in 2009, continues to inspire people in various parts of the world today with his story. Details and memory. Stephen Wiltshire is one of England's most renowned artists. Diagnosed with autism at the age of 3, he was unable to pronounce his first word until the age of 5. Still, Stephen, as he learned to hold a pencil, began drawing surprisingly realistic wildlife pictures and caricatures of his teachers. Later, he depicted the buildings he saw around London in all their details. His older sister Annette would take him to the home of a school friend who lived on the 14th floor of an apartment building. Thus, he would observe the view of the city, which he admired every point of, from top to bottom, and draw it. Her sister said that Stephen's curiosity turned into a passion over time. Thanks to his photographic memory, the famous artist can draw even the things he has seen once, remembering them down to the smallest detail. Considering that Stephen's first word was paper, we can say that it was clear at the age of 5 how his future would be shaped. What do you think about these unusual people we mentioned? We would love to hear if you have similar talents. You can share your thoughts and talents with us in the comments. See you in the next videos.